All right, my friends, welcome to another episode of the RPG Backlog with Prof Plays Games and Friends. This is Travis. He's back. He has not been scared away by Final Fantasy XII or talking about it with me. How you doing, Travis?
I'm all right.
Yeah,
Doing
that's
pretty
good.
You?
Good news. I'm great. I am very happy to be playing awesome video games. And this week we are going to be talking about one of them. It is Final Fantasy XII. This is our third episode, if I've got the count right. The last episode was titled Genocide in the Mines. So I'm curious what title comes up through our chat today.
Wow. Okay, that's wow. I did not know that's what that was right out the door. Dang, that's some dark.
You talk about video games and talk about what you've done, and things come up, and you're like, "Yep, that's the title." There we go. Some random crazy shit you say. This week we are taking on the Ogir-Yensa Sandsea, and we're taking on the Tomb of Wraithwall, and the just two chunks of, if you're looking at the Neo Seeker walkthrough, that's linked in the show notes. But it was a pretty sizable chunk. Probably, I don't know, it took me 6 to 8 hours, I think, all told. But I was also grinding and doing some hunts as well. How about you?
Holy shit! It took you 6 hours? Wow.
I'm estimating.
I mean, I didn't feel that long. I mean, I did some grinding due to those stupid little guys at the beginning putting all my party to sleep and pissing me off.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, like the actual story itself took me, I don't know, an hour and a half.
Really? That took me way longer than that, so I'm not sure what I was doing then. But I did explore every single part of the map, and ran around a lot and did a side quest with the tortoise. Did you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, what the fuck? Okay. As we explored in the last podcast, you're better at video games than I am, so there you go.
Well, looking at your screenshot that you shared, all your characters are like 5 levels lower than mine, so...
They are? There's no way that you spend an hour and a half then and are 5 levels higher than I am.
On the story. I said on the story.
Oh. Got it.
Right. Like, I probably spent... what's my game time on this one? So, I spent about 4 hours total. Yeah, about 4 hours total.
On
this section.
On this section? That sounds about right.
Yeah.
4 hours sounds about right. I've got 19 hours all told on how long I played the game, but then on the save clock it's like 16 hours. So I'm not sure what yours is.
I've only got 13 hours total played.
Interesting. Oh, okay. On the Steam front page, right?
Yeah, and my save time when I last looked was like around 10 or 11.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I've got about 5.5 hours more than you do. Yeah. But that's cool. I'm going to recap the story a little bit before I do. Just general thoughts on this section. How did it land for you?
I mean, story's still good. Gameplay's still kind of iffy. Yeah, the system's opened up, but I don't know. I'm not... I can see where people love it, but at the same time, this story is what's keeping me going. I don't know. Maybe you seem to like the game systems a lot more this time around from what I was seeing from your comments. What were you thinking on all this?
This was the part of the game where both things started to open up, where the story was a lot... coherent's the wrong word, but it started to make a lot more sense to me, and there was a lot more meat to the story. So I was very excited about getting back into it and exploring everything to see if I could learn any more lore about the world. But also the gameplay systems sort of all came together for me. I really started to learn the gambits more. I bought a ton of gambits at the store to open up what I could do with my party. And it opened up the battles specifically, either against mobs or against the bosses. The sleep that you mentioned, but also other status effects where I had party members going down. I was juggling party members, swapping in, swapping out, Phoenix down, giving a potion, or using cure or whatever to bring them back up and swapping them in and out. Swapping around using the, I still call it the mist, but it's their special ability.
Well, I mean, it does say mist on
Yeah,
the
but then you
thing.
hit mist, and then it says like quickening or another.
Quickening, yeah, it says quickening, and then after that, it gives you what the actual move is, I think.
Yeah, so I'm still, I guess, a little struggling. I keep wanting to call it a limit break.
That's what it
So
is.
yeah, it's a limit break, just like the espers that we get in this. We get our first esper, and I know that's in Tactics, and you may know about espers from Tactics or other Final Fantasy, but to me, it's like a summons.
I mean, in Tactics, as I recall, they were espers, but in the menu it was called summoned. So,
Well, that makes sense.
but then also I'm trying to remember, there weren't a lot of. I don't even think you could actually. God, it's been so long. Because there was a summoner class too that literally summoned things onto the battlefield. So I'm trying to remember how they actually called them there. And as I recall, it wasn't something like you could attach them to individual, like characters just acquired their own. And we're going to ignore this because it's Tactics and it's been too long. So I'm probably talking out my what.
We'll probably hit Tactics at some later point in the podcast because I have not played that yet, and that's still in my backlog.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah, people love the story, man. I want to dig into that. And I like the world of Ivalice, and I forget that, is it Masuno is the creator or one of the creators here who eventually left and did Crimson Shroud, who worked on this too. I'm liking his style.
I was gonna say you're gonna have to talk to Anthony. I don't keep up with individual creators on this. I'm not that. I've never been that deep in these. I love Final Fantasy games. I love RPGs, the older school ones. We've had this conversation with my distaste for some of the newer ones.
Turn-based or best.
Yeah, I prefer turn-based. I always have. Though Final Fantasy XVI did hit a pretty solid spot for me, so we'll see.
Yeah, obviously I'm new to Final Fantasy overall, but I don't know. I think in video games, just like in books or even like movie or TV, when I find a creator that I like, I kind of like try to follow them because there's something I like about their stuff. Like Mike Schur, who did The Office and Parks and Rec and The Good Place. Like I try to follow him. I'm Brooklyn Nine-Nine, wherever he goes, because everything that he does I like, sort of thing.
Yeah, I've never gone that way. I always just like, oh, this is a genre. Sweet, let's go.
Interesting. So you didn't hop into Brooklyn Nine-Nine because of the creator. You just like that show. Interesting. Okay.
No.
Well, when we get to the Mike Schur podcast, we'll dig more into that. But this is the Final Fantasy XII podcast right now. So give a couple quick hits of the story. The section that we're in, it starts with Princess Ashe asking Baltier to help retrieve proof of her royal bloodline, which is the Dawn Shard, which is a piece of the, and fuck this word, but the deifacted Nethicite the Dynast King wielded to unite Ivalice. Deifacted neophyte.
Neophyte or necessite? Nethicite.
As I said, fuck this word, but yeah, Nethicite. Deifacted Nethicite.
Yeah, there we go.
I finally got it. There you go. So this third shard was buried in the tomb of Wraithwall. And its existence was passed down in royal lineage to prove the royal blood, which is what Ashe is trying to do, to prove that she's Princess Ashe because she didn't kill herself. So they go to the Dynast King's tomb on foot because it is located on a jagged, which is a word I don't know, but apparently it's a piece of land in Ivalice where magic rules are different. So they cannot pass here on an airship, so they've got to run. You would ask me off mic, well, that doesn't make any sense because why can the Empire come through?
Yeah.
It's because the Empire has manufactured Nethicite, which lets them fly airships even on the jagged because it's more powerful. So there you go.
Wait, you didn't know that when I asked you like 5 minutes ago or like 2 minutes ago, but now you know that, or did you just look it up in the time since I asked that question?
The latter. I wanted to make sure I knew the answer. I knew it.
Because I was like, you SOB, man.
You
seriously
just told
asked
me you didn't know it.
You're like, I
it.
have no idea. And now all of a sudden you're pumping out the answer.
You got it.
Okay. That's all. Whatever. Nothing new to me.
Yeah, that's right. I'm usually that kind of asshole to you. So when they leave the tomb with the Dawn Shard, all of a sudden the Empire is there, right? The Leviathan dreadnought is there, because Vossler, who was a guest with you, who is one of the people who's trying to help Princess Ash.
Help, air quote the crap out of
Help,
that.
yes, air quote help, alerted the Empire because he wants to do what's best for Ivalice. Ash is, go ahead, you got comment there?
Oh, I mean,
Says fuck that guy?
No, I knew this was coming.
I didn't. What was the tip off for you? You just, this
the
tends to
fact
happen
that-
or what?
Yeah, this just felt like such a trope because Bosch was the one who's been helping her, but she's like, no, you're a traitor, F you. So Ash doesn't trust Bosch, but Vossler she trusts because he's been loyal the whole time. I'm like going, yep, you're going to be the a-hole that turns her over to the Empire. They're going to promise to do something, and it's the typical, I did it for the better of Dalmasca because they're going to reinstate Dalmasca by me handing you and the Dawn Shard over to them.
Exactly.
Which we all know is a bald-faced lie. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And,
You don't believe the Empire. Come on.
Right. And so I was like, the whole time, every time the way he was acting, I was like, dude, he's going to do something that's going to stab us in the back. It's not going to be like he's an evil person, but it's going to F us. And it happened earlier than I expected. I will admit that.
I like that it happened earlier because there's a lot more story to go. And it's cool to see them not extend the trope, because that's what usually happens, where like the turn happens at the end of the story or whatever. And I also like that the motivation for his turn like really wasn't like good or evil. Like to him, I think we mentioned it last episode. The motivations really are like each person feels like they are the hero, right?
Right.
They're doing good stuff. But no, so the Empire's there because of Vossler, and then they basically bring the party in front of the Judge Geese, who takes the Dawn Shard, and the party's taken away in chains, and Geese is like, yeah, I'm going to help the Empire, but instead he decides to use it to try to take over the Empire, and he decides to see how strong that the Dawn Shard is by placing it in the engine of the ship, which overheats.
No, didn't overheat.
It did. Yeah.
No. The
Well,
Dawn
how do you
Shard,
see it?
The Dawn Shard did exactly what it was meant to do for their machinery.
The engine overheated.
No, it sucked all the juice and caused it to explode. Like,
Okay, tomato.
I mean, it didn't. I guess if you want to say it overheated. But that was the Dawn Shard turned around and backfired on them because it started sucking all the power out of it and
Exactly.
blew up the engine.
Yep, which was beautiful explosion in the sky. But before that happened, actually, Fran went crazy.
Because of the mist.
Yeah, so that piece, I guess, I need more understanding of. I
You
don't
and
know
me
if you
both.
have. Oh, God damn it! I was like, I hope you have it for me, because the mist is what made her go crazy and break the shackles, and they all broke their shackles and got the fuck out of there, except for they had to defeat Vossler before they could leave.
Well, so the mist is something that's been bothering me since the very beginning, because Fran has mentioned it multiple times, and it's never been explained. It's just like, oh, the mist, and everyone's like, oh, okay, sweet, the mist.
It's a thing we all know.
Right, and I'm trying to remember. Typically, Final Fantasy was pretty good about explaining these random ass things that, as opposed to just being like, yeah, we're not going to explain this shit. Unless it's some sort of major story piece that the realization of what it is like a major thing. And then that's what triggers everyone's like, oh shit, this is what this has been the whole time.
I don't think so, because I just used the Google to figure out what it is in the context of Final Fantasy XII, and it's simply the main source of magic.
Okay, that's so
stupid. I think it's just like a thing that infuses the world that is just commonplace for everybody. Sort of like the crystals, I suppose, in like Final Fantasy XVI.
I guess.
But
yeah, whatever. I mean, I know. Was it Fran early on made some comment about the mist being thick and that it can make magic stronger? Or was it Fran or Balthier? I don't know what it is. Balthazar.
Balthier.
Whatever. Balthier. Well, someone said that about the mist being something that's dangerous but could also be beneficial when it comes to magic. But that's all they've ever really said about it. So I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's why it makes sense that in the menu it's called Mist, because then it allows you to bring up espers or quickenings. And I thought there was a third item, but I can't remember what it was. So it looks like it's just the magic, it's the fuel of the magic in the world, which makes sense, I suppose. Need something to do that. So the Leviathan fucking explodes, and the party escapes, and we are back to. Is it Robin? Are we back at Rabanastre?
Yeah, we're back to Rabanastre.
Yeah, okay. Before we're headed out again, so I went back to Rabanastre and had a little bit of a story, but then I just went and did hunts and just a bunch of hunts and leveling up. So
How many hunts were you able to do? Because
three.
Okay.
I picked up 4 or 5 though.
I picked up. So did you do any hunts before you left Rabanastre the first time?
I did. No, I didn't.
Okay.
But then I came back and I did a couple, maybe 1 or 2 episodes ago, and then I picked up a bunch now. So I'm going to load up real fast to see which ones I picked up.
Because I picked up 4. I want to say like 4 of them, but I can't. A couple of them were in the Giza Plains, but can't be done because it's the rainy season and the village is not the normal thing, so the people aren't in the village.
So I got one of those, a Ring of Rain. I beat Sardine in the Giza Plains during the rains.
Okay, that's the one that
You probably picked it up, but haven't done it yet.
I picked it up and haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And then one of the other ones, then I had 2 more to go back to Bajera, and I'm like, okay. And I probably haven't figured out how to travel between the fucking cities. Because I went to go to the freaking little airship thing. It's like, yeah, you could buy a ticket. And then it won't let me buy a ticket anywhere. I'm like, okay, fuck you.
I'm pretty sure that I used the orangish, reddish, yeah, exactly, teleport stone. Because I beat the number 5. I'm looking at my list here. Right now I have 10 hunts, excuse me. There's one in Bajerba called Pelika, which is number 10. I had not done that one. But I did number 5, which is Marauder in the Mines, which is ACOM.
I didn't pick up any in Bajerba. I didn't even think of that when I was there. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah, so I've got, obviously we start with the tomato, then there's the wolf. Some of these names just don't match. These are going to be meaningless. Cheryl from Rabanastre. That doesn't it's a fucking dragon that flies in the sky.
Yep.
You did that one?
In Rabanastre, that one, you had to go all the way to the far end of the sea to get to that one.
Correct. That's the one. Yep, that's the one.
That I killed like 5 times before while in that area without having.
But it didn't trigger a count.
Nah.
I dislike that. I like modern games now where you've done a thing and when you get to someone, they're like, "Oh, can you please do this thing?" And then they're like, "Oh shit, you did it already? Okay, well thanks. Here's your reward." A big time saver. So yeah, that was the story, and I felt like there's a lot more political intrigue happening. There's a lot more characterization, and now I'm just like, what the fuck's up with Fran going crazy with the mist when the engines got all their power sucked out of them / got overheated in that situation.
Yeah.
So I just feel like the story is expanding and getting a lot of showing and not telling, and really interesting to me.
There's that. There's also the whole thing with the Empire and the Emperor obviously trying to figure out who his successor is between his 2 sons.
Oh, yeah. Larsa is one of them. And then
the one that you thought was a girl that turned out to be a boy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. When I looked, I was like, damn, what the fuck is wrong with me? And I was looking up Larsa. I think it's Larsa. And many people were like, I thought it was a girl at first. And, in the end, it doesn't matter. But I was like, I just had no idea.
Yeah.
So it would have been cool to have, like, choosing between a daughter and a son or whatever. But whatever, it's fine. I'm sure we'll see that person again. I don't think I've seen them for a while.
They got Penelope out of trouble there in Bujera. Larsa did.
Oh, right. Penelope. Yep. Penelope. No, Penelope. Yep. How are you liking... You've made 2 jobs for some of your characters? Or all of them?
All of them.
Yeah,
all of them
okay.
2 jobs.
I still have 2 more to give 2 jobs to. But, opening up that second license board, and just the license board in general, how's that unfolding for you?
It's nice. It's also interesting because you buy something on a board and then you switch over to the other one. It's like, oh shit, half this board's filled in already, which is kind of nice because it sits there and goes, okay, I'm smart enough to realize that if you bought this on board A and it exists on board B, I'm just going to fill it in on board B. So it's kind of cool because like when you switch between them, you can start jumping around on the boards big time by having these floating nodes open in your second board, which is kind of cool. The thing is I think we were talking about it is I've inadvertently doubled up on a couple. Well, no, one class I purposely doubled up on, but one of the other ones I inadvertently doubled up on. I'm like, I think I need to revisit that.
Because you want to not double dip, or because there's an advantage to not for that character?
So in past Final Fantasy games, there's never been this type of. This is a totally new mechanic for me. Jobs things existed, right? But having a double up is something unique. Typically, in those games, if you have a party all of the same job or too many overlapping, you will hit a point where you will be missing a crucial skill from one of those other jobs that you don't have. And you can still get through it, but it makes your life way more difficult. So with that in mind, I want to double up. Usually it's towards the latter half of the game, and given that the story is starting to open up, my assumption is we're getting towards the midpoint. So I think we had this conversation before where you had all of your characters had different classes, as I recall, correct?
The primary or the secondary?
Primary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Whereas I went in with 3 Shikari and 3 red mages because I learned very quickly that red mages just decimated all. But now that second I got the second job, I was like, okay, this tactic's going to probably bite me in the butt here real fast.
That'd be fun if you just had like 6 that were Shikari / red mage.
Right? I mean, I thought about it for a second.
I guess you could do that and just fucking steamroll the fucking game.
To some degree, but also that because I did have the ability to remove blind but not sleep. So that whole first play in the sea where I think I told you this at one point in time, 4 out of my 6 characters had the sleep freaking status effect, and that shit doesn't go away. Like,
and that's the one where they just like drop out, right? They're just like not there all of a sudden, right?
No, they're just standing there. They don't. They don't move.
Right. Yeah.
But the effect doesn't go away, and unless you have either the spell or the item to remove it. And in old games, you could even attack your own character if you wanted to wake them up, because getting hit would automatically wake them up. And so, but it was a double-edged sword. It's like, dude, you probably hit harder than the mobs. Do you really want to hit your own character to wake them up? But sometimes, strategically that was the right move. But here, you can't hit your own character. So it's like, oh, shit, they're asleep. They're down and out if you don't have anything to handle it.
Right.
So that's why now I'm switching all my character classes up. So I learned the fun fact, when you switch job boards, you get all your job license points back. So there you go.
I was going to ask that because if you are switching... because your secondary choice was something you want to redo, you have to cash back in both license boards or one?
That I don't know. I haven't done that.
Oh, okay. Because that'd be like a lot of like redoing the board.
Oh God. Yeah, and I have a feeling that's what's going to happen when I go to switch Bosch.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. No, because when I changed all their license boards right after I got back. I didn't even open up the second one first. I just said, no, I'm going to refresh them all, get back to Rabbitmaster, single job, refresh the ones I want, and then go through and open them up.
Yeah. So I think that Anthony's strategy, at least this time or recently, was, all different. Use all 12.
Yeah.
You've mentioned, like, repeating. I wonder, part of the replayability, obviously, is figuring out, like, I don't know, I've never played that one, so I want to play that class or that job or whatever. But what's more fun for you?
What's more fun? I don't see the need to play every class. But the one class I'm probably going to keep doubled up on is the White Mage. Just because heals is never something that you're not It's not something you're going to regret ever having too much of.
Right. Staying alive is always a good goal.
Right. Yeah, my DPS may be hurting, but unless they have they did have a DPS check boss already. Let me be fair.
So I want to know which one you're talking about.
The demon wall.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. I fucking 9 tries and I finally got it. Oh my God.
Okay,
I loved it.
That's one of our differences.
Yeah, I know. Did you take it out in the first try?
Yeah.
Okay, fuck off. Get the fuck off my podcast.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Both of them on the first try.
Dang. It took a lot. And I actually really liked that part. And I was not frustrated that it took forever because I kept changing my tactics, changing my strategy, changing how I was going, what I was going to hit with first, when I was going to use the mists, switching between the characters when the mists are happening. Have you done that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. And you bring out I forget what it's called. Like when you do 3 in a row, it brings out the
Inferno.
Yeah, that's it. The Inferno. So just stringing things together. And there's been so many times where I've gotten to the end of a boss fight or a couple mobs even, but maybe hunts more than anything, where I'm down to like my last person. And I go to the crystal and I revive them all. And I'm just like, that was fucking awesome. So sucking at video games is kind of fun sometimes.
Yeah, I was going to say, what tactics did you try with the wall the first time? I'm curious.
Oh, the first time? Just fucking face tanking it like a moron. That did not work. I got pushed. I mean, actually, it almost worked. I got to push all the way back to the door where I got crushed, and he probably had like an 1/8 of his health left. And I was like, oh, shit, that didn't work. So then I tried different spells, and that, same thing, got close, and then finally... Actually, you know what happened? The last time, I just ran the fuck away. And then went through the door, and then all of a sudden it was there again. But I just heard you say you beat both of them.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense now, what happened to me. Because I went through, and then there was another one. It's like, what the fuck? I thought I ran away from this. But the second one, there's more time.
Yeah.
That's longer, so I was able to beat it.
Wait, so did you beat the first one then?
No, because when I came back through, I just ran around it and never triggered it. So I didn't
So
beat
you
the
didn't
first
beat
one.
the actual demon wall then, dude.
What did I beat then?
So
Demon Wall Jr.?
Yeah. The second one was way fucking easier than the
Oh,
first.
fuck me. God
Like-
damn it. Now I have to go back.
Like exponentially easier, dude.
No wonder I beat him on the first try.
Like it was ridiculously the second one. So yeah, the first one that you see, obviously, I think it was one that gives you, or maybe it was Balthier that says, hey,
Yes,
either
Balthier.
fight or run. Like,
Exactly.
Pick your lane, fool.
Yep.
If you run, you go through the door.
Yep.
Sweet. Then there's another one at the very far end of the thing, so you have to run all the way down to his ass to kill him. So yeah, you have a lot more time, but he is also a lot weaker than the first one that you hit.
You're making me go back now.
Yeah, sorry, man, but yeah, that first one has, I'm gonna assume like at least twice as many hit points.
It might be more hit points, and that's just the fucking lane is shorter, so
Yeah,
you've got less
way
time.
less time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting. I kind of like that. It's really interesting. I was mentioning it with Anthony on the Prof and Dev Play Games podcast, where Final Fantasy VII Remake, one of the things I like the best, besides my girl Tifa, is the boss designs. They're so different and varied. And some of that's coming through here, where like the Demon Wall, like that's just such a unique process where you're like on a lane and you're getting pushed back and you've got to beat him in a certain time without making it a dumb time limit. Like this is a real grounded in-world reason why you have a minute and a half to beat this fucking thing.
Except that's taken straight from Final Fantasy VII, and it's probably been used again.
Really?
Yeah, there is a boss in Final Fantasy VII that is the exact same thing. You are trying to escape a pyramid, and it is literally the same thing. And I can't remember what it's called, but it's another wall name, and it's trucking you down, and you have a time limit to freaking defeat it, or it crushes you.
Damn. Well, not as unique, but it's new to me, so I thought it was a really cool mechanic.
But at the same time, you won't see a lot of the boss fights are going to be unique across the board typically. Like usually you won't see the same type of boss fight experience from time to time. You might find some secondary stuff off to the side that is a repeat of something you've done somewhere else, but for the most part, the story bosses should all be unique, which is something that's pretty cool, I think.
It is really cool. I think some of the bosses in this game overall are sort of not not blurring together, but I feel like they're less remarkable than I would hope. But this demon wall, for example, was pretty cool, and I also like Garuda, which is outside the tomb.
Gerudo, was that the turtle?
No, it was the big dragon-like thing right
Oh,
before you get into the tomb. Go into the tomb.
Yeah.
Where if you had done the turtle side quest, you got those esper berries.
Yep. And that takes a
toss him in his
giant
ass.
chunk of
Yeah.
his health off. Yeah.
Exactly. Exer berries. Exer?
Yeah.
Esker, whatever it was.
So, until Garuda, honestly, I hadn't felt like we had actually had a real boss fight. Mm-hmm. To be 100% honest.
Yeah. That kind of tracks with where I'm feeling about that.
Right. Because most of them have been like, oh, like beat these freaking soldiers with this one souped up soldier in the middle. Mm-hmm. Like he really wasn't. I don't think any of them have been a challenge. The one exception being the spider thing, which I don't think either one of us found a challenge.
Yeah, the Mimic Queen. Yeah.
The Mimic Queen. I was like, okay, there's an actual boss.
Yeah.
It wasn't a challenge, but still, she was a unique experience. And it's the same thing with Garuda. But most of the other things that have had boss health bars have been, I would not have classified them as bosses myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that kind of makes sense in the way that they don't feel like I don't know, exquisitely designed boss encounters like I'm used to in Final Fantasy for the most part. So,
I mean, Vossler was technically a boss fight, but he was literally
exactly
the same thing as with the judge that we'd fought on the freaking airship before. So
yeah, they really, those two blended together really poorly for me, and I think poorly because Vossler was with us. It should have been more impactful and more. I was thinking too. I spent so much time leveling up that like my party was at, I don't know, level 14 or 18 or 17 or whatever, and he was like fucking 25, and I was like, fuck, did I just level up my opponent, or does he come back to a base level, or does he go on with the level you raised him up to?
He was leveling up the whole time he was with you.
He was, but I wonder when he starts the boss fight, do they?
I don't know.
Keep that level, because that's crushing.
I think he kept that level for me.
Okay, because I didn't. It was not a challenge. That fight was not that big of a deal, to be honest.
I wasn't paying attention. I mean, any of those humanoid boss fights have been a joke. The judge was a joke. The freaking the cells was a joke. I think they're not meant to be boss fights. They're meant to be more story fights.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like a Dark Souls starting out, the first one's like, oh, are you really supposed to beat the first boss in the game? No, you're not. You're supposed to get your ass kicked. And then you wake up in someplace else. It's kind of one of those situations where it's like, you have the fight, but should you really lose this one? Probably not.
Yeah, that makes sense. Weapons. I've been picking up new weapons as I've gone through shops, and I don't know. I feel like my party's hitting harder. I don't. It feels significant when I pick up a new weapon. I'm not sure how you feel about that.
Oh yeah, there's a massive jump in it. But then, this is a thing that itemization is kind of meh for me in this game, and it goes back. It's probably just a relic of its time, because you can put armor on your characters. It's like, sweet, looks exactly the same.
Exactly the same. That's right.
It's like, okay, I get it. PS2s probably couldn't have handled it, having all that logic into it to switch the armor and everything. But it doesn't feel like the armor makes any impact in the fighting either.
Yeah, I haven't felt that for sure. Where I get a better piece of armor, I'm like, I'm still getting smacked the same as I was.
Right.
It doesn't seem as impactful in terms of defense as the new weapons do in terms of offense.
Right. Like, so when I got back to Ravenauster, I redid all my classes. It's like, oh shit, all the weapons they had no longer work for half my party anymore. And oh shit, I just dusted all my gil on spells and armor, and now I have to buy the cheapest weapons I can just to put weapons in my character's hands. And holy shit, do they hit like it was a wet noodle, right? So
Right.
I'm running around the Giza Plains killing the weak shit because it's the only thing I can really kill with any confidence to the farm up guild to where I can go back and buy better weapons for my characters. Then I go back, it's like, oh, all these things that was taking me like 3 hits to hit, it's like one hit from one character and walking away to the next. So yeah, the weapons make a difference, which is cool. It just the armor doesn't feel like it does daily
Yeah,
squad.
exactly. Yep. Yeah, and I do wish it would look different, but I mean it's fine. They have their character designs, I guess. Thinking about the techniques, Libra.
Yep.
Have you used that?
Yeah, it's a requirement.
Really? What the fuck? I don't know if I've ever interacted with it. Or is it automatic or?
No, you have to. The techniques, you have to use them,
Yeah.
and they have a time limit. Have you gotten randomly hit by something while walking, and it's like, oh, someone triggered a trap?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you have Libra equipped, you can see the traps on the ground.
Okay, because I do. So I've seen those like red squares, glowing squares.
I bet you $5 if you go and look at. You only see it when you have Ash in your party.
Mm-hmm.
If you go and look at Ash's equipment, if you haven't changed her accessory that she comes with by default gives her Libra.
Ah, interesting. Okay, so is it just for seeing traps?
It's seeing traps, and it shows you the levels of the mobs that you're attacking.
Okay, and their strengths. Oh, I see. It's
And
like
the
a
strengths and weaknesses.
cess.
Yeah.
It's like okay, got it. There's so much that's just like super parallels to Final Fantasy VII.
So this is funny. You mentioned the traps or the Libra, and I have traps as one of the things in here, and Libra is on there. And this is the thing that kind of irks me, right? But Libra is now a requirement, which is kind of annoying that a spell that you have to cast like every minute is a requirement.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
But also, even if you have it, you dodge the trap. Someone in your party member will just walk right the F over it.
Yep.
I was like, you son of, like, why? If I can see it and I walk around it, and I'm trying to remember which Final Fantasy game where it is, where they ran in a straight line. It was like freaking 10, where the parties
just
ran
like follow your steps, basically.
like in an exact straight line.
Exactly.
Like, why the F could you have done that here instead of having them fan out like some morons to where they just run over the thing that I'm blatantly trying to avoid?
Yep.
But yeah.
You will not be surprised to learn that when I saw that glowing red square, I was like, ooh, what's that? And I
walked right into it.
right into it. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess something is letting me see that. I don't know what that something is, but now I know it's Libra. I love these podcasts because we're learning shit. Like last time we learned you could turn the gambits off right in your fucking menu. Every day we learn something new. Oh my God.
I mean, there's a couple other things that I'm trying to figure out, and I haven't. Okay, I'm going to ask you this: have you figured out a way when you go to a vendor to know which techniques you need to buy? I.e., you have the ability to use them, but you haven't purchased.
No.
Okay.
No.
Another pet peeve: like you go in as spells, techniques, anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I go in, I'm like, wait, do I have this yet?
You can buy it.
I can buy it, but do I have it? And I'm sitting going, shit, man, I have a limited funds. I want to buy the ones that I know I have the ability to use. And I'm like, this is freaking annoying.
The only thing I would say is that for weapons, that's the case where like, they have the 6 little, I don't know, circle portraits of the characters and the weapon that you can use on them. It highlights it around in like a yellow corona, but I have not seen that for the other stuff.
Yeah. Well, weapons and armor and accessories. Like gear, it does, but spells or techniques, it doesn't. I was like, this is fucking annoying.
Yeah, because you should be able to read pretty clearly. Okay, I should buy this because my person can use it right now. As opposed to what happens now, I buy it and then no one can fucking use it. I'm like, well, I guess I'll unlock it eventually.
Right. And it's like, okay, I bought this one and then I can't use it. It's like, shit, this other one that I could have bought that I can no longer buy, I could have used. I'm like, fuck you, man.
That's happened to me several times. Like, I don't have any money anymore. God damn it.
Right. And it's just like these little things like that. The other thing, chains. Whenever you're fighting, do you know what causes a chain to continue and what breaks it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do. It's that you're attacking the same enemy, like
right,
the same type.
Is it really the same type?
Yeah. So like when I went through where I got my 50 chain trophy was in the Ogir-Yensa Sandsea, where you're just fighting all the Yensas, and it was just every single one was the same. So I was able to attack, and when I got to like a different enemy that showed up, like one of the flying things, I would run away from it and then keep my chain going. When I was in the mines of the skeleton warriors, I was building up towards the 50 chain, hitting all the skeletons, and then I accidentally hit a different enemy, and then it reset the chain.
See, okay, now I just learned something because I was like, what the fuck is causing a chain to go and what's causing it to end? Mm-hmm. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure it out. My record was like 35.
Yeah. So if you're trying to get that trophy and you just go through the Ogir-Yensa Sandsea, it's really easy to mainly only run into the Yensas. Except they're going to put you to sleep, I guess.
Well, not anymore, because I can fucking one-shot their little asses.
Perfect. Then you can run through there, and then I read a long time ago in prepping for this game that if you go 2 screens away, then that's what resets or respawns, I suppose. But I've seen them respawn more quickly than that, to be honest.
I've seen them respawn while in the same freaking area.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, then fuck that thing I read then.
Yeah. Like, I've literally, like, okay, I cleared everyone out in this little area, ran over, killed everyone else in the other area, started walking back. It's like, wait, why are there more little shitheads here? I was like, okay, I'll kill you guys some more.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Genocide in the desert. There we go.
100%,
dude. Yeah, so try that out. It was, I'm a bit of a trophy whore, or an achievement whore, so.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a trophy.
Yeah, you hit 50, and then you get it. There was something else I was going to ask. And I really like that side quest in the desert where you basically find the Uratan Eater, which is just the tortoise.
And then get one of them killed.
And then you get one of them fucking killed.
Yeah.
And their body turns into this plant. You can harvest the Esker berries. Esker? That sounds right. Which to be honest, I was like, what the fuck do I do with this? And I looked it up. I was like, oh, okay. I throw it. Great. I will do that.
Well, even I think it's was it the little Moogle that made some comment about it being useful against certain enemies or something like that? Or someone made a comment about it.
Yeah, I think it was the Moogle.
Yeah.
There. So, yeah, I've just been running around, unlocking all parts of the map as much as I can. I feel like it's, this is dumb to say about a JRPG, but it's fairly repetitive. The deserts, the standing metal structures that you go up the ladders and come down the other side and whatever else. But
okay, I have a couple things I was curious about because I had thoughts on 2 things story related. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts? Because the fleet got destroyed, right?
Yeah, that was awesome.
But Vane sent the fleet to go collect them. So do you have any thoughts on that at all?
I mean, I haven't thought about it, but I guess now that you're saying that, I guess a couple of thoughts would be he knew shit was going to go bad and didn't want to be there.
Well, so the reason why I asked that is because my initial reaction was what happened was probably exactly what Vane wanted to happen.
Everyone to go down in a blaze of glory?
That he wanted that Judge Geese to go there to do it, knowing full well that Geese was going to try and take the Dawn Shard for himself, was going to try and use it, and was going to essentially fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
And was thereby eliminating one of his threats.
Well, clearly, because the first thing he did was, I'm going to take over the Empire.
Right.
Good read, man.
I'm sitting there and watching this going, okay, Vane is more, what's the word I'm looking for? Shrewd?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Than I think I gave him credit for right there. Like, I knew he was fake as shit when we first heard that story. But watching this going down, I'm sitting there going, he's basically using this thing to slowly eliminate all his competition. I would not be surprised at some point in time if his little brother's on the receiving end of that.
I was going to ask you that, but you've answered the question. I started thinking about Succession. Have you watched that show?
No.
Oh man, there's just a scene where the one brother's like, they asked this brother, like one of the brothers, what are you getting in the car? What are you going to go do? And he's like, fratricide. patricide. I was like, oh shit, maybe we're moving towards fratricide here.
I mean, I get the feeling based upon the way the emperor was acting in front of the council or the Senate, I guess they call it.
The Senate, yeah.
That and obviously the Senate wants the younger son because they probably think they can manipulate him.
Yeah.
And I can also tell that the emperor seems to be leaning towards his younger son because they made some comment in there about that they had no problems doing it with his older, like Vayne had no problems doing it to his older brother. Or something along those lines. There was something about him, like an older sibling or something like that. And I was
Who's
like,
no longer around?
Yeah, like the emperor had no problems, removing the older one because he was a threat type of thing. And then why is he hesitating to do it with Vayne now?
Wait, you're saying that Larsa was the one who got rid of the older brother?
No, the emperor.
Oh, the emperor. Got it. Okay.
Like the way I read it or didn't read it, the way I understood when I heard it, maybe I misheard it, was it seemed like there used to be the emperor had 3 sons, and one of them, the oldest, was way out of line, and I'm wondering if it's going to turn out that Ash's dead husband was actually the older son. I would not be surprised if that was the case.
That sounds like a Final Fantasy-ass thing to do, right?
Right, and the emperor removed him because he was basically thwarting his ability to extend the empire.
Yeah.
And so now he's hesitating to do the same thing to remove Vayne, even though he removed the oldest one previously. So I get the feeling that Vayne knows about all this, and so therefore is going to be making moves against literally everyone in his family at some point in time.
That could be a real good story. That could be real interesting.
I mean, we could ask someone to. Well, no, we could ask Anthony, but he would not tell us.
He won't tell us.
He'll be like, I don't know.
He will be silent and say, "That's my answer."
Yeah. I mean, I could technically go Google this shit, but I'm not going to because I'm trying not to Google anything because I'm like, I don't want to know. I'd rather learn it as we go.
It's so interesting. Spoilers are so interesting. When I was in grad school, my professor was talking about how when he gets a new book, he goes to the very end and reads it because then it creates a schema for him to understand like how things go together. And for me, like these very intricate fantasy stories, I actually do better when I know what the story is ahead of time. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake, I started playing and just loved it, and then just got so into the fucking lore of the entire game, the whole compendium or compilation, Advent Children, Dirge of Cerberus, everything, man. And then like reading through all that, watching lore videos helped me really appreciate Remake a lot more as I was playing it, and not only appreciate it but understand some of the stuff that I wouldn't have otherwise.
Wait, so you're telling me right now you've only played the first Final Fantasy VII remake that came out a couple of years ago, and have you started the second one that just came out?
I haven't because I'm doing the Intergrade. I'm doing the Yuffie DLC.
Okay, but you already know the whole story of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah. I played Final Fantasy VII up through like in 2020 when the pandemic was going on, or started. Okay. I mean, I played up through Junon City or a little past that. And then obviously through osmosis from gaming media, I know the major beats of the story. But no, not until I got halfway through Remake did I go through lore videos of Final Fantasy VII and really in depth learn the full story. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm the exact opposite. I don't want to know.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like that. For me, it's 2 things. One, spoiler, like the whole knowing the story ahead of time helps me contextualize what's happening in the game and helps me enjoy it more than like being really confused as I go through. And then second, I forget a lot of shit. So I learn it and then it's gone. And then when I re-experience it, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Oh, yeah. And I start putting it together. Okay. So I'm just a fucking goldfish. So it works to my advantage.
See, I'm the person where I don't want to know. And then I piece it all back together when I get to the end.
Yeah.
And then for me, there are certain games that I'll keep, games or books I'll use, or any media for that matter, movies too.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go back and rewatch them again, and then I'll start picking up on little things that I didn't see before that start connecting more and more dots together.
And that's the thing that if I did that regularly, I wouldn't want to do what I do, because I tend not to replay, so I'm not going to have that experience again. So I'd rather have it the first time. So I'm kind of trying to get myself to a place where what you're rediscovering on your second playthrough is what I'm doing on my first playthrough.
Okay, fair.
For the most part, I still don't want to know big story beats in terms of like, you know, things that are easily understood, but like lore, background, small little details, that it really helps me. But I'm a weirdo. Not everyone's like that. Anthony is, yeah.
My wife is very much like, oh, just tell me what happens. I'm like, wait, are you going to ever watch the movies, especially? Oh, just tell me what happens. But are you going to watch the movie? Yeah. Okay, so why would I tell you what the hell's going to happen? I don't want to tell you the story if you're going to watch it. But just tell me what happens. I'm like, no. And then she'll nag me until I freaking tell her. And I'm like, dude, I just ruined the story. Like, the twist has been ruined. She's like, I don't care. I still get enjoyment out of watching it. I'm like, okay.
I agree with your wife. Yeah, that's how I am too. For the most part.
Okay.
If it's complex, like I don't know. Like I'm watching, like I said, watching Succession right now. If you told me how it ended, I'd probably be pretty pissed. But counterpoint, Game of Thrones, the TV show, which ended like dog shit. The ending is what George R. R. Martin told them, and I believe that's really the logical ending. But how they got there, that's not how the books are going to get there. Well, mainly because the book's never be finished. But
I was going to say, the books are never be finished. So that's like the only ending to that we're ever going to get. But
yes,
like,
isn't that sad?
So, no, but like that's a great example. How many times have you read those books?
Oh, God, 6?
Right? So, I mean, that's me with these types of stuff is I do this. Well, I mean, I've read them like fucking, I haven't read them 6 times, but I've read them 4 or 5. But it's the same thing, right? Like now I know what's going to happen, but now as I'm reading through, I pick up these other little things or something that Martin put in there. I'm like, oh, now that's why he put that shit in there. And it's the same thing with these games in general. So, for example, tactics. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of shit in the beginning that your first time playing through, you're like, huh? What? Okay, sweet. And then once you get to the end, if you don't remember it, you're like, oh, it doesn't mean anything. But if you go back a second time, you're like, oh shit, I know why he's doing this right now and how that's going to impact the game 40 hours from now. So that's why I love that game so much. But anyways.
Well, and it's nice because it lends itself to repeated playthroughs where you get so much enjoyment out of it. I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 is just like a great example of that, where there's so much that, and I don't want to know what those other things are, and I never looked into what those things were because I do want to play it again, which is helpful.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just the way I approach it. And this way, even with this one, I know I will probably never play it again unless something drastically changes here in the next few weeks. I will, like, once we beat this, I'll be like, yep, I did it, checked it, gone, bye.
I think that will be the same for me as well. I'm liking it. I know I'm going to like it more as I go because I'm already liking it more now than I did last episode, for example.
I'm about the same. Like, the combat still feels too much like it. I go back to what I said last time. The combat feels like a precursor to mobile RPG games. Just with more control than what you get in mobile RPG.
Yeah, sure.
Because mobile RPGs, auto attack. Okay, you get these abilities that you can select to come up on a timer that can be used every so often. Sweet, done. Right, this is pretty much the same thing. Pick your character, pick what you're going to attack, and then pre-program what your characters are going to do. You have more control, but at the end of the day, you can make it as much. Yeah. Anyways.
I'm finding the gambits. I like how it's speeding up combat. It's making the combat the I don't know, the rote everyday combat kind of fly by. I'm not bored by it, which is great. I'm playing the game on 2 times speed. It feels like the right speed for me. I've always wanted to play games at a faster speed because I listen to a shit ton of podcasts and audiobooks, and they're always at 2 times speed. That's how my brain processes stuff, I guess. I can't stand it when it's slow. But I feel like the battles, the gambits, sometimes I feel a little detached from what's happening.
Yep.
And I also kind of lose track sometimes, like camera wise, like where the fucking enemy went. And it is a little bit, if I had direct control, I feel like the camera and stuff would be a little bit more precise because it would have to be. But with the gambits, you're kind of just like on autopilot. So it doesn't necessarily need to have you seeing everything clearly.
So have you done gambits on for all of your party members?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't turn them off.
see, for the longest time, my party leader had gambits turned off.
Interesting. So you were being more active.
Right.
How'd that work out?
It just got tedious. So then I turned the gambits. Actually, it happened one time because I swapped out my party to get rid of Vaughn. So I was trying to level up some of my other ones. And I forgot that I had left Bosch with his gambits on. Or no, it was Balthier. Left his gambits on. And I was running around, and all of a sudden he just takes off running after a mob. I'm like, wait, what? Oh, shit, right, Gambit. He's doing target, like, what you can see, he's targeting and attacking. Yeah. And the whole party just follows after him, and they all start doing it. I'm like, oh, so I don't have to do shit. Okay.
Yeah, the article that I sent in the Discord where it talked about the reviewer who was on a time crunch and they just fucking left the game on overnight with their gambits to just auto battle, so they came back to be super fucking leveled up.
Which, in a way, is kind of what I did. I mean, I was still actively moving the party around the map, but I wasn't doing shit else.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Again, maybe this is my own like this is me screwing myself and forcing myself to dislike it more, because as I said, your screenshot, you're like in the high teens, like 20. I think your highest character was like 20 or something like that.
The one I just sent before the podcast.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
I think that was what it was, and maybe you've gone up since then. I don't know.
No, that was my that was most recent.
Yeah, like you're 17 to 20, right?
Yep.
My lowest character, I think, is like 23, 24.
How the fuck? I've played so many more hours. You're more efficient.
That's the only thing I can come up with is because I play on 2x speed. I actually put it on 4x speed when I auto did it, when I was just grinding, because I knew at that point in time my characters were so powerful that I wasn't going to die from shit.
Yeah.
And plus I had 3 red mages, so any red battle masters or whatever the heck they call them.
Red battle mage.
Red battle mage. So I had 3 of them that could heal at any given point in time. So I just had that as their primary thing. It's like, oh, if a character drops below this threshold, cast the heal. Otherwise, cast dark until your magic gets to a certain point. Then use an ether and then rinse, repeat. Right? And so because of that, freaking dark ravages everything it touches. And if you have if you have 2 of them in a party, they basically cast at the same time, everything dies, and you walk on to the next thing. But so yeah, that's probably what I was doing, because I had that at 4x speed. So it was just like my battles were like not even a second; they were like half a second long. It was like bam, battle over, bam, battle over. Okay, sweet.
And it still makes you feel disengaged from the battle.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if I put it at 2x speed, 4x speed, like real time, which real time is slow as shit. It just feels detached because I'm not doing anything. I've programmed the fight to go the way I want it to. Now I just stand back and watch. It was the same thing with Garud, with the Demon Wall. The only thing I did there is I purposely saw him start casting a spell, so I immediately used an item to nullify that, and then I just had all my characters chain casting their most powerful stuff, and then he dropped like that.
All right, now I know how to beat him when I go back, beat Demon Wall Senior.
Well, I mean, I can tell you exactly what I did if you really want to know.
What was effective against Demon Wall?
So there's two things or one thing you should have gotten at some point in time, which was it's an item that casts reflect on the
Yeah.
entire party.
Yep.
So the first thing I did was I tossed that up, and then I had all my red mages cast Vero on it because it's an AoE thing, and it hits everything in there, including your own characters. I discovered,
Which you then reflect.
which then you then reflect onto the demon wall.
Did you say arrow? AE arrow?
Yeah, arrow.
Oh, okay, got it.
It's an
Okay.
AoE wind spell, but it hits everything. It'll hit you if you're in its range.
Mm-hmm.
But since you have reflect up, it reflects it onto the demon wall. I found.
I might be trying that tonight after the podcast.
Yeah, so because I discovered when I used it the first time, I was like, oh shit, it hit me too. I was like, this spell sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking through. I don't know what before I went into the tomb because I ran into Garuda.
Garuda, yeah.
Oh shit, there's a boss. That was a real boss. I'm like, okay, I need to pay attention to what items I have in my inventory. And I was going through and checking to see what everything did. I was like, oh shit, this is like puts reflect up on me. And I was like, okay, I know what that does.
Mm-hmm.
So the second I saw that wall, he started. I think it even gives you a warning that he starts to cast Doom. And I was like,
Yes,
oh
it does.
shit.
Yep, exactly.
The second I saw him start to cast Doom, I was like, reflect, because I don't want Doom on my shit because that's going to kill my characters in a certain amount of time. And then once that happened, I was like, oh, go into the menu, put on freaking arrow on all my freaking red mages as their primary thing. And that's where it was kind of, it felt okay for that point because I was actively adjusting my tactics in the middle for my team in the middle of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
But then it turned to made the fight trivial afterwards. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the, the tightrope walk, right? With this kind of system where it kind of automates some things that are maybe slightly boring, but then it's just everything's a cakewalk if you min max correctly, I guess.
Or if I don't even think I'm min maxing, but at the same time, I guess I have enough knowledge of Final Fantasy previously to kind of know little tricks that can work.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if you would have put two and two together, being like, oh shit, that's hitting my entire party. If I cast reflect up, it'll nullify that and reflect it onto something else.
Well, I did only because I thought I saw what he was doing or the wall was doing, and I put reflect on, but I didn't know that about arrow. So I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. So the only reason why I knew that, like I said, I used arrow outside with the giant winged bird things, and then when it damaged my party at the same time, I was like, wait, what? I was like, oh, screw this. I started reading the description. It's like, oh, it damages everything in the area. I was like, well, this is dumb.
Yeah.
But I found a use for it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna reflect more shit off myself then. Use myself as a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for me. It tore through it,
sure.
and then I used the mist abilities too to freaking or quickenings or whatever you want to call it. But so that actually reminds me, I was going to ask you when you were bringing that up with the random. What is the most amount of quickenings or whatever you want to call them abilities you've been able to use in a single round?
I think I was able to use 4.
Okay.
So it lets you swap. And I still haven't figured out what the shuffle thing does.
So, okay, that's what I was going to ask you. So it'll let you swap, but the shuffle will also, if you've used all of them, if you hit the shuffle, it gives you a chance of bringing someone else's back up again.
Because when I hit shuffle, it just like changed the name thing like super, super quickly.
Yep.
So I was like, what the fuck is happening there?
Yeah, if you do it and it brings the names up, it has a chance to bring it up. So like one time I got Vaughn to do his 3 times in a row.
Yeah, and there was a time where I got 4 because I did my 3 and then someone else got to do it again. I was like, that's weird. Why?
Yeah.
What's causing them to do it again?
I got, what was it, 7 or 8? Because I had all my entire party had it up. And I got all of them out, but then I was able to. But the thing is the more you do, the shorter that time window gets. So, but yeah, I think it was 7. But
that's cool.
Yeah,
that just fucking destroys whoever you're fighting.
Right. But that's something else that I would say to keep an eye on is that R2 shuffle will give you a chance to bring up a party member who's no longer has their mist up, gives you a chance to be able to do it again.
That's interesting. I wonder what the reason for that is, but that's cool.
Yeah. No idea, but it works.
I love this. I love playing a game together with someone, even if it's a single player game, and coming together and talking about it, because we're like, let's try this. What happens there? Helping each other work through some of those things.
Yeah, I want to see what happens when you go back and fight the real demon wall now.
I'm gonna do it tonight, so I'll let you know.
Since you thought you did, but you found the fake wall.
Well, I went into the next room, and I'm like, how the fuck did it follow me? I guess it didn't.
It didn't. It was its little brother or something, or little sibling.
Interesting. No wonder I beat it so quickly. So, cool. Well, anything else for this episode of the RPG Backlog?
No, I'm good.
Awesome. Well, if you liked our podcast, please tell your friends, rate us on your podcast service of choice, and we will be back next week with more Final Fantasy XII. Just like last time, I said, I don't know what we're doing next, but according to this walkthrough, the journey to Jahara, and then the Golmore Jungle and Iroot Village. So we will interface with Anthony and figure out what makes sense for the next chunk, because I thought this was a really good chunk, the one we just did. So
yeah, I mean, it will confirm with him if we need to go further, because I think our original wasn't even as far as we ended up going this time around. So
yeah, so let's figure out. But there's an estimate. We'll be back next week to tell you what we're actually doing. All right, folks. See you next week.